in the shadowed corners of our villa in the Tuscan hills, where the cypress trees whispered secrets to the windswept valleys. Elena's breath came in ragged gasps. It was late autumn, the air thick with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves, as rain pattered against the terracotta roof like hesitant fingers. Florence lay an hour's drive away, its Renaissance spires indifferent to our unraveling lives. I, Marco Rossi, knelt by her bedside, my hands clutching hers, cold, fragile, like porcelain veined with blue rivers. Our marriage had been a fortress built on shared silences and stolen glances, forged in the heat of Rome's summer festivals 20 years ago. But now, as cancer claimed her inch by inch, she pulled me close. "You'll survive without me," she murmured, her voice a fragile thread in the dim lamplight. Her eyes, once vibrant like the Arno at sunset, now dulled by morphine, held something unspoken. I nodded, tears blurring the frescoed walls of our bedroom, adorned with faded depictions of saints and sinners, reminders of Italy's Catholic soul, where forgiveness was preached but rarely practiced. She died that night, slipping away as the church bells in the nearby village of San Gimignano tolled midnight. The funeral was a somber affair under leaden skies, mourners in black wool coats huddled against the chill, their faces etched with the stoic grief of rural Tuscans. My brother Luca stood beside me, his arm around my shoulder, his wife Sophia dabbing at her eyes with a lace handkerchief. Our family estate, Villa Rossi, sprawled across vineyards that produced Chianti, revered in Milan and beyond, had been our inheritance from father, who built it from nothing after the war. Luca, the elder by 2 years, managed the business side, his sharp mind navigating EIU regulations and export deals. I handled the vines, my hands calloused from pruning under the relentless sun. But in the weeks that followed, grief morphed into a gnawing void. Sorting through Elena's belongings in the attic, amid dust-moted beams and forgotten heirlooms, I found a locked box hidden beneath her wedding gown. The key was taped inside an old Bible, its pages yellowed like autumn vines. Inside, letters, photographs, a faded birth certificate. My world fractured. The letters were from my father to Elena, dated before our marriage. Passionate, illicit. One read, "My dearest Elena, Luca knows nothing. The child must remain our secret." Photographs showed Elena pregnant, not with our son Matteo, who we lost to a miscarriage years later, but earlier. The birth certificate named a boy, born in 1985, adopted out. Calculations spun in my head. The dates aligned with father's affair. Luca and I weren't alone. There was a half-brother. But worse, Elena's final letter to father. "I've married Marco to stay close. The estate is Luca's by right, but I'll ensure justice for our son." Betrayal coiled in my gut like a viper in the olive groves. Elena hadn't married me for love, but as a pawn in a generational scheme. Father, the patriarch who'd pitted us brothers against each other in childhood games of power, Luca always the favorite, I the dutiful shadow, had sired a bastard son with my wife before she was mine. And Luca? Did he know? The estate's deeds, I discovered in father's old safe, had been altered subtly over years, favoring Luca's line. Power struggles simmered beneath our family's facade. Sunday dinners of osso buco and risotto, where toasts masked resentments over inheritance shares. I confronted Luca in the winery, the air heavy with fermenting grapes and oak barrels. Golden sunlight filtered through the arched windows, casting long shadows on the stone floor. "Did you know about Elena and father?" I demanded, thrusting the letters at him. His face paled, then hardened like the Apennine granite. "Marco, you're unraveling. Grief does that." But his eyes betrayed him, flickers of guilt like storm clouds over the Val d'Orcia. Sophia, overhearing from the doorway, stepped in. Her Sicilian roots lent her a fiery temperament, her dark hair pinned back, accent thick with Palermo's cadence. "Enough, Marco. Elena was family. Let the dead rest." But I couldn't. The moral dilemma gnawed. Expose the truth and shatter our family, or swallow the poison. Generational trauma echoed. Father's own father lost everything in Mussolini's era, instilling in him a ruthless drive to secure the estate at any cost. Now, it poisoned us. I began my slow unraveling of revenge, not with violence, but with precision, like tending vines through seasons. First, I hired a private investigator in Rome, a grizzled ex-carabiniere named Giovanni, who traced the half-brother, Alessandro, now 40, living in Milan as a struggling artist, unaware of his heritage. I met him anonymously in a crowded cafe near the Duomo, the spire piercing the foggy winter sky. He had father's jawline, Elena's eyes. "Your paintings capture loss so vividly," I said, buying one, a stormy landscape evoking Tuscany's tempests. Over months, I fed Alessandro breadcrumbs, anonymous letters hinting at his birthright, documents proving his lineage. Psychological tension built. I watched Luca grow paranoid, his once confident stride faltering as whispers spread in the village. Sophia noticed, her suspicions turning to me during Easter Mass in the ancient chapel, incense curling like doubts. "You're destroying us," she whispered, her hand trembling on the pew. Matteo, our nephew, Luca's son, studying law in Bologna, became a pawn unwittingly. I mentored him, sharing family history that sowed seeds of doubt about his father's integrity. The boy, with his mother's fire and uncle's quiet intensity, grappled with loyalty. "Uncle, is the estate truly fair?" he asked one rainy afternoon. As thunder rolled over the hills, vines heavy with unripe grapes. Spring bloomed, wildflowers carpeting the fields in vibrant defiance of winter's grip. I orchestrated meetings, inviting Alessandro to the villa under pretense of an art commission. Luca's face when he saw the resemblance, priceless, a crack in his armor. "Who is this?" he barked, wine glass shattering on the flagstone terrace overlooking the undulating landscape. The climax brewed during Harvest Festival, the air alive with accordion music, laughter, and the crush of grapes underfoot. Villagers in traditional garb danced under string lights, the scent of roasting chestnuts mingling with wood smoke. I gathered them, Luca, Sophia, Matteo, Alessandro, in the great hall, frescoes watching like judgmental ancestors. "The truth," I declared, voice echoing off vaulted ceilings. Documents spread on the oak table, birth certificates, letters, altered deeds. Luca lunged, but Matteo held him back, eyes wide with betrayal. Sophia wept, revealing her own secret. She'd known of Elena's affair, covered it to protect the family name, fearing scandal in our conservative Catholic community. Alessandro, trembling, faced Luca. "I'm your brother. She was my mother." The room spun with accusations, emotions raw as exposed roots after a storm. In the ensuing chaos, Luca confessed. He'd suspected, paid off investigators years ago to bury it, ensuring his control. "For the family," he pleaded, but it rang hollow, like bells in fog, revenge's bitter fruit. I exposed it all to the notary in Florence, invalidating the deeds. The estate divided. Thirds to Luca, me, Alessandro. But victory tasted of ash. Sophia left Luca, taking Matteo to Sicily, where palms swayed under Mediterranean breezes, far from Tuscany's judgmental hills. Luca, broken, sold his share and vanished to Naples, rumors of gambling debts trailing him like autumn leaves. I remained at the villa, alone amid the vineyards, seasons cycling relentlessly. Winter's frost mirrored my isolation, spring's renewal a mocking promise. Elena's whisper haunted it. You'll survive. But survival was a hollow shell, cracked by truths unearthed. In the end, revenge didn't heal the generational wounds. It merely spread the scar tissue, binding us in eternal, fractured kinship. Years later, as summer's sun gilded the hills, Alessandro visited. We walked the paths, sharing wine from our vines. Was it worth it? He asked, gaze on the horizon where Sienna's towers shimmered. I paused, wind rustling olive leaves. It shattered everything, I admitted. But in the ruins, perhaps we rebuild honestly. He nodded, a tentative bond forming. Yet, deep down, the psychological scars lingered, a slow burn echo of betrayal's fire. Italy's landscapes endured, timeless and indifferent. But our family story, etched in blood and secrets, ended not in triumph, but quiet, tragic acceptance.